This episode of the podcast is brought to you by our new sponsor, Impact Tactical. They're a tactical outfitter for first responders and military. Me, guys, personally, I can vouch for them and their quality service. I've used them for the last 11 years of my career. Be sure to check them out at impacttactical.com. That's MPAK tactical.com, and be sure to tell them that Two Cops One Donut sent you. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by HRH Combat Arms. They can turn your vision into reality. They specialize in gunsmithing and Cerakoting. Your Cerakote specialist is Air Force veteran and retired police sergeant Paul Ware, aka the Sarge. He can Cerakote your firearms, auto parts, tools, even your sports equipment. This veteran-owned business is located at 5025 Saunders Suite 103, Fort Worth, Texas 76119. You can call them at 682-304-0363, and you can find them online at www.hrhcombatarms.com. That's www.hrhcombatarms.com. All right, welcome back. Two Cops, One Donut. I am your host, Erik Lavigne. This is take two because I'm a big dummy and I forgot to hit record on my audio, and I didn't realize that until I was about 3 minutes into my thing. So if you will notice, I will repeat myself for myself. I am without another cop, and I just barely have a donut. So honestly, folks, what happened was the guest that I had scheduled, he had gotten sick, and I saw a bug fly in front of my face. He got sick, and he couldn't make it, and my backup couldn't make it either. That's the way it goes sometimes, and I want to be true to honoring my what I've had going on with this show this whole time, is trying to get an episode out every Thursday. So I do not have a topic. I do not have a format. I don't have anything planned. I just am going to rely on my ability to bullshit, and I'm just going to kind of fly off the cuff like I always do, even with my own guest. I think that makes it more realistic. I think better conversations are had that way. I don't like scripted. I don't like, I will occasionally write stuff down, so I have questions that I definitely want answered, and I don't want to forget. I actually have a friend texting me. This is kind of fun. He's contemplating becoming a cop, so of course I'm gonna talk him out of it, because who the hell wants to do this job? No, I'm just kidding. I'm a big believer that this job is what you make of it, and it is a fun career. I love doing it. But no, he may be putting in for my department, so that'd be very cool. Especially because he's not the typical age. He's more, 30s, early 30s. So that's a good age. That's a great age to start being a cop, in my opinion. I don't like the idea. Yeah, I've said this before on my show. I don't like the idea of starting a police career at 21. Your brain hasn't even finished developing yet. And if you would have asked me at 18, 21, yeah, I was ready to be a cop then. But you ask, 40-year-old me, like, hey, what do you think about you becoming a cop back then? I'd have slapped the shit out of myself. I wasn't ready. Mentally, maturity-wise, I wasn't ready. Maturity-wise, you can ask my wife, I'm probably still not ready. My humor really hasn't changed since I was about 14, so that's the honest truth. I still think it's funny when people get kicked in the junk that isn't me. I think farts are funny. I can't help it. It is what it is. That's just me. So news. Let's go with news. First, I want to say I have found a new favorite bourbon, Smoke Wagon. Okay, now previous to this, if you're a bourbon fan, check this out. My favorite was Eagle Rare, and I've said that before on the show. Eagle Rare was my favorite, and I'd been trying for about 3 years to get this particular bourbon called Smoke Wagon Unfiltered Uncut. That, like, these little bourbon groups that I'm a part of. Yeah, I'm a nerd. I'm a part of a bourbon group. I don't know if that's a nerd or alcoholic. In moderation, guys, in moderation. I like a glass here and there. So, especially when I do the show. But to get back to my point, I had been trying, I would say 3 years to find this smoke wagon. The bottle is amazing. It's so pretty. It's not this bottle here. This one that I have, and I'll get to the point in a second. This bottle that I'm showing, if you're just listening, is just the regular old smoke wagon. There is one called Unfiltered Uncut, and that's like the creme de la creme of smoke wagons bourbon. And it's in it's hard to explain, but it's got 6 shooters on it, but the glass is all cut around, like it pops out. It's like if you were blind, you could feel the bottle and figure out what's on the bottle. It's just real cool looking. Anyway, so I managed to get a bottle of that maybe a month ago. And like I said, I've been looking for it for like 3 years, and all of a sudden when it fell in my lap, I finally found it. And it knocked Eagle Rare off its throne for me. And then, I loved it, shared it with a bunch of people. The bottle kind of went quicker than I wanted it to, because I'm a sharer. I want everybody to have part of the fun. And my dogs are fighting out there. And then today, I was like, I'll stop in and see if they got anything. And they happen to have a regular bottle, just their basic bones. So I had a glass prior to starting this, just a regular serving. So I wanted to have another glass while I talk to y'all. So, salute. I got my whiskey ball in there, a normal pour. I'm not trying to get crazy on here. But, Smoke Wagon is officially my favorite bourbon. And, putting that out there. And then I would say Eagle Rare and TX. I think it's called Bottled and Bond. It's my other two. I like those two really well. Shout out to TX. They are a local brand for me. So enough of the alcoholic stuff. If any kids are listening, it's going to take you a long time to appreciate bourbon. So don't mix this stuff. Well, kids don't drink. I say kids. This is how I know I'm getting old, because when I start to refer to kids, I'm talking 21 to 29 years old, and I was never that way before. So, what's happened in my recent history, if anybody even cares to know, I had posted recently. And a matter of fact, let me use my new features here on my fancy platform here that I'm using called Restream. So I will go to my page. So I recently worked a golf tournament, and I want to talk about this story because I have gotten so many questions on it. Not really questions, but here we go. So if you are watching this on YouTube, I pulled up a picture, and it's basically from when I started working this golf tournament years ago. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Technically, it would be 7 or maybe 8, but COVID canceled, or the golf tournament still went on, but all the positions, a lot of them got canceled because you weren't getting the crowd that we're supposed to get. So this golf tournament started, and I am using the mouse. There it is. You'll see a little kid on a little I can't remember what they call. I think they call it a Strider. It's the little kid bikes that don't have pedals, and it just teaches them balance. He's on that, but he came up to me in full police uniform. His name's Camden, and his dad and his no, it was just his dad that day. Steve, good dude, came up to me and said, he loves cops, wants to be a cop, and he had to be 5 at the time, and he wanted to meet a cop. Well, where I was posted up, my position, it's 7 days. The tournament for where my post at 7 days, and it's in this neighborhood. And I'm talking like entrenched in the neighborhood. Like I'm not talking, I'm stationed in a residential neighborhood at a 4-way stop. And I got houses all around me. And the point of my position is to prevent people from trying to park in the neighborhood and to block up this one roadway from the back hole. It's kind of a basic job. It's not real hard. So that's my function. And typically the way this job's worked is the officer will sit in a patrol car and just kind of put his hand out the window and tell people like, nope, you can't go this way, and start pointing in the opposite direction of where they need to go. Well, that ain't my style, guys. I can't sit in a car. I am restless. That's one of the reasons I joined the bike unit when I was able to. And two, I like talking to people too much. Even if they don't like talking to me, that's my entertainment for myself. That's what I tell people about this job is you got front row seats to the best show on earth. Well, why not be a participant while you're there? So that's the way I look at it. I talk to everybody. And I love seeing getting the vibe like, no, he's basically telling me to fuck off with his eyes. He doesn't want nothing to do with me. Oh, this person wants to engage. Oh, this person's been waiting for somebody to talk to them. And there's probably a reason for that. And what would turn off most officers from wanting to talk to that person is like one of my motivators. I annoy a lot of cops because I will start up conversations with stereotypical the crazies, and the people are like, God, I just want to get away from this person and go take another call. And I'm like, no. Like, I want to hear the thoughts that this person's got going on. Like, I don't know. I just get entertained by that. And I don't make fun of them or anything like that. I just like it. I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting to me. I like that stuff. So back to my point. So I get posted at this spot. He comes up to me. I think it was day 1. Maybe it was day 2. Maybe the neighborhood there. It's all residents basically that pass me. And so they're getting to know me, and they're like, oh, there was never an officer here before. Is this a new spot? It was a new spot. And, so like, people are introducing themselves to me, and I gotta say right away, the neighborhood in itself was very supportive of the police being there. I had a couple coffees brought to me, maybe donuts one day, some sort of breakfast, but, not that I expect any of that, but it was definitely welcomed because I'm working 12 to 14 hour shifts out in the Texas heat. And, man, it just, food, you want to lift my spirits. It's right through the belly. So, I'm getting this food brought to me and stuff. And here comes young Camden, talking about, that he wants to be a cop. He was semi-shy, but not really. A little smile on his face. And I tried to get myself, you see in the picture, the first picture here was actually, and I'm moving my mouse around on it if you're watching us on the YouTube channel or Rumble. Let me give a little shout out to Rumble because I just learned about that. I want to give as many options as possible. So I'm going to be uploading everything to Rumble, by the way. I never heard of it until while I was working this golf tournament. So while I was working that, I created a Rumble account. Anyway, Camden comes up. We get to BS and I'm asking him what he likes to do. Well, while I'm doing that, a neighbor snapped that picture, and I didn't know the picture existed until the next year, and that's when I got the picture. And I think we put it through my own department's media team and stuff like that. And here's the thing. I'm not about police propaganda when it's disingenuine and when it's fake and when it's forced. But this was a genuine encounter. And that's what I get behind. This was a genuine encounter. There was nothing. I had no idea that anybody was taking pictures. Camden didn't know it. It was a sweet moment. For me, I'm an emotional guy. So for me, this was man, this is what it's about for me. I love this stuff. The only other side of law enforcement that really gets me this amped up is the enforcement side. I really like catching bad guys. And I love when you have a genuine impression on It doesn't just have to be a kid like Camden. It could be a genuine impression on a bad guy. And when I say bad guy, I just mean somebody that broke the law. I don't mean that they're a bad person. Because don't get me going down that tangent. Just because you break a law doesn't make you a bad person. And almost everybody's redeemable, in my opinion. So almost everybody. I sent this to the media team, and I let them know, like, hey, this is what happened. This was legit. Like, this moved me. Like, you don't get this type of connection too often. So I was just like, this kid, man, he's an awesome kid. And he loves baseball. That was him and I's real link. Like, a lot of people say they played a lot of baseball when they were a kid. I was on like 5 leagues during my summer. I mean, I played an insane amount of baseball. And my own dumbass screwed up any sort of like going pro or anything like that. So just being young and immature. But yeah, I love baseball. I still do to this day. I still play softball. I will play on wooden bat baseball leagues. Love it. Love baseball. But Camden I think that's where the other side of the connection really came from. Is, he likes cops. That's awesome. But he liked baseball, and he liked to pitch. That was his other thing. I pitched. So we had that. Well, the next year came, and that's me circling around here with the Camden wearing the little green shirt. I came a little more prepared. Each year that I worked this corner, I just kept adding and adding and adding to my repertoire out there. So I brought some junior police badges with me, stickers, because it wasn't just Camden. There were so many more kids in the neighborhood. It's just Camden and I bonded, and that was a daily occurrence where the other kids, they come around occasionally. But yeah, it was always a fun thing, and throw the ball around with the kids and stuff. Just making the most of the opportunity. And so started meeting with their parents more, talking with the parents, Steve and Mary, 2 great parents. Salut. And it really opened my eyes on this particular spot. I had opportunity to change that position. I could have gotten myself in what would be considered better spots, whether that be on the golf course itself. Bike positions became available. I really like riding around on a bicycle, not motorcycle. And here's the reason why, especially for all the other cops that are listening or civilians. When you ride a bike, you get to go wherever the hell you want. You're not confined to anything. Where I'm at here, I am stuck. I'm in a static position. I can't move unless somebody comes and relieves me. On a bike, you can go wherever you want. And if you want to go inside somewhere to cool off, everybody understands because you're out pedaling your ass off. So bikes is a very awesome position if you've got the certification to do so. And when you work part-times like this, it's really cool. And an explanation of part-times for those on the outside listening, like, what's he talking about part-times? Don't you work for a police department? Okay. I call them part-times or moonlighting, whatever you want to call it. You're basically, your department allows you to work for whoever else is approved. It's got to be pre-approved in the city that is your jurisdiction under the colors of your uniform. What's great about that is the police department isn't paying you, but you're still covered by the insurance. And the benefit of that to both the city and the people that you're working for is, one, they've got a law enforcement capacity. So instead of having a security guard there who can only observe and report, and he's going to have to call the police and tell them anyway, an officer can be there and squash a call before it ever becomes a real offense. And that doesn't cost the taxpayers anything. And then that money, they're getting paid by that department, or I'm sorry, by the business owner. And then the other really cool part about that is, like, let's say something happens illegal around me in that neighborhood that a patrol officer would be responsible for coming to. Well, I have an obligation to go help if I can, because I'm in the area. So now the citizens are getting an officer that can respond in their area, the immediate vicinity, for free in a sense. Just depends on what goes on. Now, if the officer gets stuck on that call for a couple hours, well, then the city will reimburse. But it helps prevent a lot. So if you got a city where your officers aren't allowed to work part-times, I would say it's worth the insurance liability that may cost a little extra, because overall, that stuff doesn't happen very often where you have to do something on an off duty, but at the same time, you're getting more officer presence throughout the city. That's just my 2 cents on that. So back to the golf story thing here. So Camden comes back the next year, got my badges with me. I'm really reaching out to the community. This is my second year there, and now the community's really like, hey, you're Officer Lavigne from last year, and I'm making sure I talk to everybody willing that lives in the area. Just trying to recognize them by name, recognize their cars, all of that stuff. And come the third year, now the kids in the neighborhood show up regularly. The lemonade stands are popping up around me because I'm giving them ideas. I'm like, guys, there's a lot of people leaving this golf course at the end of the day, and they're thirsty. And it's hot out, and they're waiting for Ubers. So I'm just saying, you can probably make a lot of money. And it was nothing for these guys to make $2,000-$3,000 in 7 days. And you think I'm joking? I watch them make, damn near $300-$400 just in a couple hours one time, just selling the lemonade, and it's amazing. So and I'm I'm a influencer, because as these people are leaving the golf course, I'm like, hey guys, make sure you don't neglect the kids. I mean, look they're over there trying to work a business. Teach them how to, run a business over there. And sure enough, it would guilt people into going over and buying some lemonade from them that may not have. So it was a little partnership. I didn't get any. Well, I did get some free glasses of lemonade. I won't lie. I got some lemonade from the kids, which was great. So Camden, here's the third year, fourth year. He's really starting to get big. Obviously, you can tell in the pictures. Kid's starting to get an arm. I bring my glove every year. We play catch as often as we can. And I know my downtimes and stuff. I know, I still do my job. Don't get me wrong, but the neighborhood loves it. They love the fact that I'm out there playing catch. You'll notice that in almost all these pictures, I'm wearing a bike uniform. I may not necessarily have been on bikes. Now, there's several reasons for this, okay? One, that bike uniform, you can't tell looking at it, but if you hold it up to the sun, you can almost see through the shirt. When you're working outdoors that long, I need anything I can get to stay cool. And that shirt lets the breeze run through real easy. So that was part of the reason. The other reason was being in the neighborhood and that being a newer position. I wanted a uniform that I have learned through my experience is more inviting for conversation rather than intimidating. I have no evidence to back this up other than just personal experience. But I think in a standard uniform, people are a little more closed off from just engaging in conversation with you. However, when I wear that uniform, everybody wants to talk to me. Well, they may not want to engage. They may not want to be the one that starts the conversation, but if I start it, immediately it's accepted. So I'm a big fan of wearing that on a part-time, that is all about community interaction and stuff like that. So it helps. You'll actually notice that I'm wearing a blue one here about year 5 or 6 of me hanging out with Cam, that I had promoted actually at the time. And I had taken my vest off. That's why you don't see a badge or anything on there. And obviously I black out my patches because I want to keep my department separate from this show. But yeah, I typically wear that uniform just because it does it squashes things before they get started. Now after this episode, I may get a call from somebody in my department is like, hey, stop doing that. Like, you can't do that. You need to wear your regular uniform. So I might have to stop. Who knows? Either way, hey, if it opens awareness that maybe the colors and the look of the uniform have an influence on community policing, maybe that's something we need to look into. But I want, we can start those conversations. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my shirt in my video here. Let me go back to biggie size. How do I do that? Give me 1 second here. I'm just trying to figure myself out here. Okay, they're not shiny in this one. For whatever reason, when I'm looking at it on this, they look real shiny. If you're watching the video, you'll see what I'm talking about. So, where was I? So, yeah, the uniform and stuff like that, I think that is another thing that opens up conversation. And I will say, each year as I'm working here, more and more of the citizens in the area, the residents, would start like just going above and beyond to make sure I was taken care of. Making sure I had enough to drink, making sure you can see in some of these pictures, you can see my cooler there. I always had a cooler with me. But just making sure. I mean, one year they brought me an umbrella. I got stuck out in the rain, and I was trying to hide under this. You can't see it. There's a table with an umbrella built into it, but it only covers so much. And if the wind's blowing slightly, then you're getting wet either way. So the rain was coming in, and a neighbor brought me an umbrella, like one of those big golfer ones, and I was able to stay dry. So constantly looking out for me. Making sure I had a hot dinner, stuff like that. And I was being, the tournament itself would provide food, albeit not the greatest food. But then I was getting home cooked meals from the residents. And I want to attribute that, one, to just the community being a bunch of good people, but two, the community, like, I think I earned their trust. Just through actions, being yourself, having fun. They knew I was there, not just on the community policing side, but I was handling business on the enforcement side. And I was having this discussion today with some other people and some coworkers about the idea of being a community police officer. Now, there are some community police officers, that's their only job, is community policing. They're not subject to patrol calls. So you've got a patrolman, and their job is to shag calls all day. And then you've got a community police officer or a neighborhood patrol officer. They're called several different things, but their main job is to be the voice between the community and the officers that are taking calls in their area, in their beat. Now, my opinion, and I think this is the best way to be a community police officer, is you're a double-edged sword. On one hand, you are the voice. You are a person that is able to talk to your community. You're not socially awkward. You've got great communication skills. You understand how to address the issues of the people you're serving. So you've got that. That's hands down what your mission is. But I think the other side of the coin is you got to know when to step away and be able to communicate that to your community and say, hey, we're a little heavy on the community side. We need to step up the enforcement side and address the concerns. It can't just be you depending on the patrol officers. You need to be out there on the ground with the patrol officers helping in the enforcement side. That will help you earn the respect and the confidence of the community you're serving. If they see you as just a voice, well, then you're just a voice. You're saying the same things that they're saying, except you're not enforcing, you're not putting your money where your mouth is with those people. And some people, this is where the argument could come from. This is where we could differ in opinion, and that's fine. But my difference of opinion is I need to keep both sides of that sword sharp. I need to be able to talk to the community, but I should be able to convey to my community, hey, these are your concerns. I need to step away from the town hall meetings. I need to step away from, the Chinese New Year celebration. I need to step away from all of these kind of prior obligations that they may expect me to normally be at, to say, hey, I need you all to trust me. I need to be out with the patrol officers, guiding them to help serve you best, whether that be me being a transport unit or me being out there making arrests, serving warrants, talking to the fugitive units. And this all depends on the size of your department. But doing these things on the enforcement side, the NPO or the community police officer, when you step up to take that role, in my opinion, you've stepped up to be the super patrol officer, not stepping away from being a patrol officer and just being a politician. That's my opinion. I tried to be an NPO 3 times, and other people got it over me, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. No hard feelings. I missed that window, and then I ended up promoting. I'll never get that opportunity back. So I didn't get a chance to put the proof in the pudding, so to speak. I didn't get a chance to test that theory. That's just the way. That's how my brain works. I really like, I like being able to do both, and that's why I signed up to be a cop. I want to put the bad guys in jail. I don't want to just do the happy. Oh shit, where did my thing go? I don't want to just do the happy side of things when it comes to policing, and I know that sounds kind of screwed up. What I mean is, there's my picture. I don't want to. I mean, I want to be able to go back to my community and be like, hey, not only was this guy arrested, like, this was, Mrs. Johnson, this was your, somebody's at my door. Huh. I might have to pause this for a second, because he rang my doorbell twice. So I will be right back. All right, I'm back. 3152, or no, 3252. I had a bug guy show up. He wanted to try to steal the business away from my. Already have a bug guy. And by bug guy, I mean, like red ants and stuff like that, spraying for mosquitoes and whatnot. What was I talking about? My memory's so bad. Oh yeah, the NPO stuff. Neighborhood patrol officer. So yeah, this whole theory that the best is having both sides of it, not just being too. You don't want to be too heavy on the community side, because then things get neglected, and you start to lose skill. Believe it or not, there's a lot behind. What do you call it? Let me see a side by side here. There's a lot behind. Jesus, what am I trying to say? Arresting and knowing the administrative side and showing up to the jail and booking people in and stuff like that. I'll be the first to admit, if you ask me to book somebody into the jail today, I'm going to be lost as shit. I don't know how to book somebody in, because software changes and procedures and policies and all that stuff changes continuously. So the patrol guys out there, they're up to speed on this stuff. And then if you switch over to being a neighborhood patrol officer, community police, I can't think of another name that I've heard of for that position, but being that liaison, if you get too heavy on the community side, you start to lose those skills, lose those street skills. And that's the more and more. And then when you are asked to do the enforcement side, you're hesitant because you haven't done it. So things to consider. And then if you get too heavy on the enforcement side, the same argument could be made. Now the community might start to be like, well, what the hell is this? How's this guy representing us when all he's doing is putting people in jail? Like, where is where's the talking? Where do we start to, where's the happy medium in that? So anyway, where was I on this? I'm just messing around with my okay, that's a cool look there. Let me try this one. Hey, there I am on the side. That may be okay. So if you're listening, like, what the hell is he talking about? I'm just messing around with this software that I've got. It's got some cool new features, like, hey, be sure to check out our website. See these pop-ups come up. 2cops1donut.com. I also, no, I'll get to that later. Let me go back to young Camden here. So COVID hit, and I didn't get a chance to work this for, I don't remember if it was 1 or 2 years. I want to say just one. And then this was 2021. Me watch my mouse here, where he's wearing his Black Sox jersey. And then this was this year, where he's 10 and his hair is out of control, even more than it was in this picture. But the kid is throwing freaking beams, man, laser beams. Now, granted, my glove is beat to hell. I've got a tried and true glovesmith that I've had since high school and refuse to give it up because I love it. But you start throwing some heat and it really starts to mess up my fingers because it doesn't have a lot of padding left in it. It's all displaced. So he started throwing some rockets at me, and I'm telling you, it was hurting my hand. So any recruiters out there listening, I put this in my Facebook post, but any recruiters out there listening, like, I will tell you, I'm not full of shit. He's a lefty. He's already starting to throw some junk. I was trying to show him the art of the knuckleball. The beauty of the knuckleball is you don't wear your arm out, and it works on everybody as long as you use it at the right times. So I was trying to show him that, and hoping he gets the hang of it as his hands get bigger. His hands ain't quite big enough yet. But yeah, so yeah, I got to see Camden this year, and again, all 7 days he shows up, whether it's 10 minutes of hanging out, sometimes a couple hours, just depends on how much traffic's coming through where I'm at. And he knows the drill by now. If a car starts coming up and they start to approach where I'm at, he knows, hey, I can't throw the ball yet. I gotta wait for Erik to handle his car. And yeah, just cool stuff, man. And to me, so the impression, and I'm not doing this for the, hey, look at me, as much as it looks like. I'll be the first to admit that's what it looks like. Like, oh, look at me, I'm a special cop. No, I'm trying to show that the relationships you make, whether it's 100 people or just one, we can start winning over, our advocates one person at a time. And it didn't take me a lot of energy. Actually, this was fun energy. So if it's fun, why wouldn't you do it? For me, this was fun, and it's still fun. And I can't wait till, he starts getting to that age where maybe I'm not cool anymore. Kind of like my own kids. My soon-to-be 13-year-old is already thinking she's turning 21. So maybe it'll get to that. I don't know, but I'm excited to see how this goes. This is a fun experience. I am not going to give this spot up where I'm working. One, because of Camden, and two, just because of the neighborhood. Like, I am that vested in that area now that I think even if I wanted to leave, they would protest and somehow get me brought back. Now, maybe I got the wrong impression, but the way that they talk to me, they're like, you can't leave, right? And I'm like, well, what if I want to go work inside where all the professional golfers are? And they're like, no, we'll tell your boss and make him bring you back. Oh shit. So No, I'm not going anywhere. I love it. I really like where I'm at, and it probably would be a miserable spot if it weren't for the community there. But they are there, and they talk to me, and the house that you see directly behind me, they bring me a trash can out. I'm not provided a trash can. I usually bring my own like trash bag, and have because there's a constant foot traffic from people leaving the tournament and stuff, and they don't have a place to put trash, so the neighbor, rather than people litter and stuff like that, provides trash can, and I take care of the trash and try to make sure it all gets in a bag and stuff like that. And it's a cool teamwork thing during a major event. It's a major event. It's a nationally televised golf tournament, so it's just interesting, and it's a fun dynamic. So yeah, that was a real fun time for me. And man, I don't know how to train that. I don't know how to teach people to do that. Maybe it's just my personality. I've seen plenty of other officers do the same stuff. But if you haven't tried it, one of the things I've learned through doing this podcast is, as much as I thought I would be trying to educate the public, I actually have found that I'm helping out fellow officers with different perspectives. I've had officers reaching out continuously like, oh man, I never thought of that method. I never heard of that entry. Just different things that maybe they hadn't considered, that somehow through this show they've learned. It doesn't have to be through me. It could be through whoever my guests are or anything like that. So yeah, that's one of the things I kind of want to put out there as far as the community policing aspect, which is the point of this podcast, is bridging gaps and making impressions, even if it's one person at a time. So I made an impression here very early. He made an impression on me with Camden. It's cool kid. And I send these pictures. I put this little collage together and send it to his mom and dad, and they were like, oh my God, this is great. So, what else? Now that we covered that, let me go back to my page here. Oh yeah, while I'm thinking about it, hey, please go. I'm just over a year, and my goal was 1,000 YouTube subscribers. So if you're listening to this and you like what I've been doing, please help me get to 1,000 subscribers. And the reason being is I want to help support this show to make it better and get better equipment and pay off what it's cost to already put this out. So a lot of that is now being helped by one of my official sponsors, and I'm going to put it up right now, Impact Tactical. Okay, so that's the letter M, PAK, tactical.com. I actually had a meeting with them not too long ago. They gave me like a quick 2-month trial, and wanted to see what I was about and how I would represent them. And after that meeting, they were very happy with what we've done. They liked our mission, and they're going to help me get other guests and things of that nature. And they have upped their sponsorship, so I am going above and beyond for them. The reason being because, one, I believe in what they do, which I've told y'all before. Like, I'm not going to have a sponsor in here and something that I'm not behind. Well, Impact helps me get all my uniform stuff, some of my tactical gear. I'm talking like everything between flashlights, boots, pants, tactical medical equipment, things of that nature. So I've been using them for the last 11 years, and they're great. So it really is a great place. So I wouldn't say that if it wasn't. So one of the ideas that we came up with, I should say more that they came up with, is they're going to start giving me some of their newer products, not like giving me to keep, but giving me to just take a look at and say, hey, as a law enforcement officer, what do you think about this? And I'm going to give honest opinions. I'm going to do maybe a 2 or 3 little minute segment, and maybe it'll be separate from the podcast itself. I don't know yet. I'm going to try to figure out how I want to do this, but I'm going to try to look at some products and maybe talk about some stuff for officers or firefighters or any other first responders, and just tell you what I think of it from my perspective. I'm looking through my Facebook memory here. You know, like I said, I've only been doing this a little over a year, and here's where the Memorial Day. So we just had Memorial Day too. And quick shout out to my other sponsor, hrhcombatarms.com, or just HRH Combat Arms, whatever you want to call it. Totally into making customized guns and doing Cerakote, guys, which I don't know if you can see it in the video, but back here is my Boba Fett blaster that they put together for me and Cerakoted. So definitely recommend hrhcombatarms.com. Check them out. Old Sergeant Paul Ware. But anyway, Memorial Day. I have a TikTok, and I don't use it for... I will use it for funny stuff if I can come up with something organic that's funny. I ain't scripting anything. Everything that I do is usually just me off the top of my head, and if the movement gets me. So Memorial Day, I have a ritual. Like, I start collecting all the people I know that have seen combat and have had some sort of brothers or sisters that they've lost. And let me go back to there we go. And on this TikTok, the message that I wanted to convey to people was reach out to anybody you know that's seen combat and has lost brothers and sisters during war. And it's not, I'm not taking away from any family members or anything like that, spouses that they lost a loved one during war. But in first responders and military, there's a very high suicide rate, and that is a rough day for them. So I was telling people, make sure you reach out, see how they're doing, talk to them. And I think you may save a life. And it's hard to say that stuff. It's hard to talk about that stuff, but we're losing too many people. We gotta talk about it. 22 kill. I have no affiliation with that organization, but they're all about veteran suicide, paying attention and bringing awareness. So I think the whole premise is there's 22 veterans a day that commit suicide. I can only imagine on Memorial Day. Survivor's guilt is a real thing, and I just want to try to bring some awareness to that. I reach out to my peeps. I'm just an Air Force guy, I know, but even I not me personally, didn't go to combat. I want to put that out there. I don't want anybody thinking that I'm trying to, stolen valor or anything like that. But I do have friends in the Air Force. Yes. That was one of the comments. Like, you got friends in the Air Force that saw combat? Yeah, I do. Air Force is big into convoys and stuff like that, especially. But, I reach out to them and I say, hey man, battle buddy check. If you want, we can FaceTime, have a beer, bullshit. We can chat on the phone. If they live close, none of them do. But if they live close, we can stop by and say hi. Just whatever it takes. Take their mind off it, because the moment they have that alone time and time to just dwell, that's when they're at a high risk. So just remember that on Memorial Day. Even if you're a civilian, I try to tell people, if you're a civilian, you know that they've seen the shit. You know it. They've told you, or if you suspect it, just call them, see how they're doing. I don't know exactly what you would say to them, but just let them know that you appreciate them and that, there's their friends' sacrifices and stuff like that. You appreciate everything that they've done. So I don't know. I don't know the right thing to say, but I do know that we need to talk about that stuff. So enough sad stuff. Don't want me to get me crying here by myself. Let me take a sip though. Uh, what else? What else? We're at, man, I've almost gone an hour for not having any topics. That's not bad for me. Oh, I am going to the Chad Prather comedy show June 5th at Billy Bob's. And the reason I bring that up is because I think it's on this picture. Let me see. Nope, it's not on this one. I am a part of a group called Patriot Owned Business. Basically, me being a veteran, I'm technically still in, but I had separated from active duty and then jumped into reserves a couple years later. So I'm a veteran and a military member. But part of this group, the Patriot Owned Business, is they just help support other businesses owned by veterans. And they were doing this thing. They're like, hey, we're going to go to this Chad Prather comedy show, and it's all going to, they're trying to get as many Patriot Owned Business members as they can. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go. I'm going to network, and I'm going to talk to people. And I could have swore I had their thing here. Let me do this. I'll just pull up their actual page. Patriot Owned Business. There it is. There's the group. So if you're a veteran out there listening, I'm giving a shout out to Tim Labatsky and his page here. If you're listening, I've got his page up, his Facebook group. He's at 12,400 members right now. That's a shitload. That's way more than anything I got. So, shout out to POB here. Yeah, I don't see anything else on there, but yeah, this is a Facebook page I got drawn up right now. I'm really disappointed. I could have swore I was repping. Maybe it's on my page. My Two Cops, One Donut page. No, it's not there either. I don't know. Sorry, Tim, if you're listening to this, man, I don't know what happened. I could have swore I was basically where my Simpsons picture is, where the donut is. I had the POB stamp right there. That's all I had. Let's see. What else? What else we got here? People. I'm just scrolling through my Facebook feed like, what else can we talk about? That's really all I've got off the top of my head right now. I talked about Memorial Day, talked about the whole story, the community policing story, which was real cool. Talked about the Patriot Owned Business thing. I talked about my sponsors. So I will end it on this. I am on Rumble now. I do not have a link for it. It is on my page. It's on my Facebook. I'm sorry, my website. The Two Cops, One Donut website. If you go there, the link is it's right on the first page, I believe, to Rumble if you use Rumble. Recently got added to Pandora. I had put in for that a year ago, and it finally went through. I don't know what the holdup is. I'm just trying to give anybody that uses these different platforms the easiest option for you. So I am officially on Pandora. What else? I'm on Pandora. I'm on Rumble. I opened a Truth. I just learned about that. I guess it's like a Facebook replacement. I'm a social media dummy. Like, for somebody that has a podcast based on using social media as a tool, I'm kind of a dummy. So I just learned about this one. And I don't have here's my phone. Give me 1 second. I'm looking at, because I did add one more thing too. I know that. So I got Facebook. I'm on Truth Social. That's what it's called. I'm on something called Free Space. I'm on TikTok, which I don't know if people know that, but I'm on TikTok. And there was one more. Oh, it's called Locals. I'm on Locals. So I have no idea how to use Locals. That was the one I put a little too much energy into, trying to figure it out on my downtime, and I just couldn't figure it out. So I'm on Locals. And so if you guys could check that out, I think Rumble is kind of where I want to focus my energy. So if you are a YouTube subscriber, please consider jumping over to Rumble as well. Because Rumble, the benefit that I'm seeing there, YouTube forces you to like have to reach 1,000 subscribers to even start to have a chance at monetizing. And it's not that I'm trying to get monetized by YouTube as much as I just want sponsors to be able to jump on and say, you know, like, hey, give us a shot, something to that effect. And that way I'm not leaning on, I don't have to have the people that just like to listen to the show. I hate hitting, I'm so bad at asking for money and stuff like that. So, and I hate doing it. It's awkward and it feels beggy and cringy and all that shit. So I don't like doing that. So yeah, go check out my sponsor, Impact Tactical. Let them know that 2 Cops 1 Donut sent you. I think we're working on some sort of a discount code or something like that. Haven't got there yet, but that's one of the things coming down the pipe. I got some new logos, new donut color options, stuff like that. I got some keychains. I got some limited edition. I got 10. I just wanted to do a little test run. I got 10 keychains. I'm going to put those for sale soon. So if you want to help support the show, so I'll have those up there. And I'm still trying to decide which donut. A lot of you guys voted and told me what your favorite ones were. I haven't made up my mind yet, but I'm thinking it's going to be the red, white, and blue donut, because that seems to be the most popular one. And I can show you all a picture. Let me see if I can find it. Let's go PC, desktop, podcast dailies, logo. I am pulling the donut up right now. I don't think you guys can see this yet. Okay, I am now showing it. This donut here, it's the red, white, and blue one. I think I'm going to do a patch in this one. It'll be circular, the center will be cut out, and it'll be these colors. And, you know, if you're into morale patches and stuff like that, I'm going to do a 3x3 PVC, like the rubberized patch of this. And I don't know what a fair price is for that yet. It depends on the cost of the patches themselves. With the price of gasoline going way up, petroleum, rubber-based stuff, I don't know. Maybe it'll be more expensive than I anticipated. So I'm trying not to make it too expensive. But yeah, that's that's the fun stuff I got going on. So got about an hour-long podcast. I hope this was okay for y'all. I'm sorry that I didn't get a guest. I really was trying. Stuff happens. The guy that I was going to have, he got sick, unfortunately. I don't know if it was COVID or strep throat or something like that. He said even if he wanted to be on, his voice was like really strained and whatnot. So I'm going to end it on this. And I appreciate everybody for tuning in and hearing me out. Have a good day.